Okay, so now let's discover Gaia. Gaia is an innovation cluster consisting of academies, industries, and engineers of Île-de-France for innovation for the Army. We're going to present Gaia, and we're very pleased to welcome today Michel Kiefer. Michel Kiefer is a full professor in signal processing for communication at the University Paris-Saclay, and he's head of the LabEx Digicosme. Joël Morillon is... not good. I'm going to wait.
Bonjour.
Okay, back to the introduction. So Michel Kiefer is with us. Also with us, Joël Morillon, Managing Director of Nexter Robotics, and Lieutenant Colonel Schuster, Corresponding Staff Officer attached to the Operational Readiness and Robotics Planning Bureau. And this masterclass will be moderated by David Père.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. We are going to speak about Gaia with our distinguished guests. Let me just start the timer because we have a very tight timeline today, so I will try to manage the timeline. Yes. Yes, thank you very much. Today we are planning to speak about 3 topics. First topic would be the introduction about Gaia. What is Gaia? What does it mean for operational, industrial, and academy? Second topic is going to be a discussion about Gaia and the Defense Battle Lab, comparison and maybe dynamics. And third topic will be the bounds created between the EU on the academical and industrial fields. And of course, we plan to have Q&As at the end. So maybe we can start with our first topic. Our speaker already introduced Gaia, so maybe just for the few of us who don't know it, I can say very briefly what Gaia is, and then we will speak and hear about our guests. What is Gaia? Gaia is what we call that in French an OVNI. I'm not sure in English a UFO is the real translation, but let's say Gaia is something which is quite unique, and that's why we call that an OVNI. It's an innovation cluster which purports in Île-de-France to create the fertile ground for new projects in air, ground, and ground gear. We have 5 stakeholders in Gaia: the Defense Innovation Agency, AID, the Army, the ground forces, the industrials with the GCAT, and the academics with more than 300 labs, IP Paris and UP Saclay. And what we're trying to do in Gaia is to create a unique bridge or a forum for collaboration between those 3 areas: the academics, the army, and the industrials. And the ambition is to bring out or make possible more new projects with these 3 stakeholders and this collaboration. We have 25 projects ongoing. We have dealing with robotics, we're dealing with energy frugality, frequency management, new generation ballistic protection, and additive manufacturing. So, enough of me, and let's speak about Gaia, and let's hear our speakers. I will turn now to Lieutenant Schuster. What does Gaia cluster represent for the operational, industrial, and academic areas? Lieutenant Schuster.
Okay, thank you. Gaia is clearly a demand for the army, because we need to get in touch with brand new technology, brand new academic research. Why? Because we are looking for new kind of equipment. You see robots on the picture, and robots ask a lot of questions, and some of the answers are in the academic field. So how can we get in touch with these people in order to talk about our needs regarding robotics, but also other topics? And the answer is Gaia. Because Gaia, as you said, was the missing link we need to talk about our needs to the academic sector, the academic cluster, and so this is a brand new way for us. This is a demand for the army to create this bridge.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Kiefer, can you share with us what Gaia represents for you, please?
Yes, thank you. Gaia is clearly an opportunity for researchers to start new collaborations and to identify research topics that are of interest for the Army. We are used in our labs to start fundamental research and applied research with industry, mainly on the civilian topics, but it's much more difficult to get in touch with topics which are of interest for the Army, and clearly it takes some time. You need to have a network of users who are interested in your research topics, but you also need to have a network of industrial partners, and building this network of industrial partners takes time and may take a lot of time. Thanks to Gaia, we were able to be put in contact with many people from industry, but also from the Army, and that were able to help us to identify the research topic that are of interest for them, but also for us. There were a bottom-up process which was really interesting and which has also a benefit here. University Paris-Saclay is a relatively young university which is built up which consists of many research labs, and one of the side effects of Gaia was also to foster collaboration within this university, and it was the same for Institut Polytechnique of Paris. In both cases, we were able to talk together, to build up together answers to the challenges that were identified within Gaia.
Thank you very much. I am told that maybe the speakers were not properly introduced, so they were introduced at the beginning, but maybe I will introduce them again so that everybody has a clear knowledge of who is who. Mr. Morillon, you are here on your quality of chair of the robotics cluster at Gaia. So could you please, at GCAT, excuse me, can you please share with us your insight on Gaia?
Yes, so thank you very much. So as you told, so I represent here a set of industrial partners. So just maybe a few words to remind the people that in France at the moment, so the French industry is trying to coordinate itself on the robotics field, and so maybe on the slide, so you may see that there is a set of companies who want to work together to better address robotics challenges. So I represent this cluster here, and of course the main interest for this cluster is to be the bridge and to try to set a bridge between academic parts, so to exploit nice ideas from academic parts, and so the operational needs. Yes, so this is the industrial part of Gaia. This is a working group. All these companies are involved in robotics activity at the moment. So I would say that industry is probably needed in such an organization or such an initiative. Because industry is familiar with operational knowledge, operational constraint, test trial means, for example, and so this is the good way, we think, so to transform nice ideas from academic parts. So most of the time the TRL level is quite low, 4 or maybe 5, but someone has to do the job to transform these nice ideas in operational and credible solutions. So industry is familiar with operational constraints, is familiar with norms, with certifications, and so on. And so this is really interesting for us to be there, in fact, to be sure or to try, in fact, to provide credible operational solutions.
Thank you very much. Now, we see that Gaia is, as we said, an UFO and something quite original, or maybe we are very proud of Gaia, but the title of the conference is it the only one in Europe? So we have this English Defense Battle Lab cluster, and maybe it would be a good idea to see if Gaia is something really different, or if it is actually something quite similar to the Defense Battle Lab, and how we can use the English experience to see how Gaia can progress. So on this side, I will turn first to Lieutenant Schuster, and maybe for the sake of everybody, you could just introducing yourself, because I understand that maybe not everybody has heard what you are doing, and it is very essential for our conference.
Okay, so I'm Lieutenant Colonel David Schuster. I work in the French headquarters, and I'm in charge of all things regarding robotics and maintenance. And these two topics, robotics and maintenance, I find opportunities through Gaia. We'll see. We already talked about robotics, but we will talk about manufacturing, additive manufacturing. This is another thing of Gaia. Regarding the comparison with the UK Defence Lab, the first point is UK has the same feeling, the same need to get in touch with academics, with the industrial more closely in order to challenge the new challenges. So they have built the Defence Battle Lab, and it's a wall structure at the beginning. It's still in construction, but it's the aim of this structure is to catch open innovation and to get in touch with the academic cluster. In the French, the difference is we have first built the Battle Lab Terre, which task was to catch open innovation. But we haven't this bridge through academic cluster. So the second level was Gaia. You have a two-level structure which allows us to share and to explain our needs through the academic sector. This is the main difference between these two things. Something very common is for them and for us is the way we are trying to explore these things. The motto of the Battle Lab is fail fast, succeed sooner. And it's very important because we are not in the French, for the French people, we are not used to this kind of experimentation. We want to succeed immediately. And regarding robotics, it's impossible. You have to learn from your failure. And this motto is very good, and we have the same approach. We must identify dead ends. Okay, this is not tactically interesting for us, and we have to identify opportunities. So I really agree with this motto, UK motto: fail fast, succeed sooner. It's a good approach, and we share the same philosophy regarding the Battle Lab and also Gaia, because the discussion we have on the topics allow us to identify dead ends and opportunities. So that the main common point and difference regarding these two items.
Thank you very much. Mr. Morillon? So, Mr. Morillon, could you just share with us your industrial view on the two bodies, the French one and the English one, please?
Of course. So I would say first something about the main difference. So we may see here, it's about the fact that the defense lab, the UK defense lab, mainly involve SMEs, small companies and startups and so on. As Gaia so also proposes a place to big companies, to big groups. So we see the main difference. So the reason why the defense labs so do this is that they consider that most of nice ideas so come from academic and from startup, and so most of the time, so big groups wants to take the money without doing any job. So this is not true. This is not our view in France, because in fact the big groups, in fact the big companies are familiar with operational needs and, as I said before, so about certification, norms, standards and so on. And so this is a way to implement as early as possible this kind of consideration, this kind of constraints in the solution so that we can get operational, credible products so as early as possible. So we believe this is an interesting thing. And one more thing in the same way is the fact that big groups are most of the time manage operational system, high-level system, high system level, sorry. So they are familiar with combat vehicles, for example, and so it will be much easier for them to integrate new solutions so into these existing equipment. So this is the main difference. And about the common aspect, so I would say, of course, this is a nice way, a good way, in fact, to get the money, to make the budget, in fact, from the MOD, so easier to get, because we can imagine that it could simplify all the acquisition process, in fact. So maybe, we hope so. And another common aspect, of course, is the possibility to implement short loops, so between all the actors, because the three parts, for academic, industry, and operational people and users. So this is common aspect. I would say the main difference, so there are many common aspects. The main difference is the level of companies, the size of company which are involved.
Thank you. Mr. Kiefer, on the academic side, did you wanted to add something about the English Battle Lab?
Yeah, not about the English Battle Lab, but there are universities in United Kingdom, for example, the University of Cranfield, which is an interesting example of strong collaboration between the Army and the research lab. You have a whole research department at the University of Cranfield, more of 100 permanent staff, which are involved in the various research topics related to defense and intelligence, and which are working in close collaboration with the Army, which are contracting. The Army is participating to the courses, giving some courses to the students there. And, well, this is a step beyond. And clearly, we may benefit from the experience and from all the contacts that we will get through the collaboration that will be established within Gaia to foster new research programs and to develop new curricula in which researchers, people from the army, industrials may participate and to build up new formation, new curricula that are more dedicated and more focused to the needs of industrial partners. And I think this is really a good example, and Gaia will serve, I'm sure, as starting point for that to bring more involvement of industrial and of the army within the universities and within the Institut Polytechnique of Paris.
Thank you very much. Now, we switch to our third topic, and then we will have questions from the room. Mr. Colonel Fleuret has a lot of questions, I know. So the third topic is the bounds created within the EU on the academical and industrial areas, or maybe fields, actually. And now I turn once more to Mr. Kiefer, when you can share with us your experience and your view on the ANR and the role the ANR is playing with the European research area. So can you please share with us the role of the French actors in this field, please?
Okay, the ANR, this is a French agency which is founding fundamental research, but also a part of applied research, and it has also programs to foster collaboration within the European Union in order to build up programs. When you want to build up a program at the European level, this requires a lot of investment, a lot of time, and thanks to the funds that are provided by ANR, you are able to settle up this kind of research project. Then at the European level, the main research program in which we are currently involved are the Marie Curie programs, and these are programs to develop collaboration at the doctoral level, but surprisingly it's much more difficult to get involved into the Marie Curie programs. They are mainly oriented towards civilian application, for example, renewable energy, towards collaborative medicine, artificial intelligence. There are many research topics, but clearly they are oriented towards civilian activities. And there is a European Fund for Defense, but it's much more difficult to access to this type of this fund, and it's not very clear the way this type of fund may be used and the way we may benefit from this type of fund.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Morillon, at the European level, you have NATO support and purchase agency and SPA, which makes possible the evaluation of industrial capacities on a given topic. Can you please tell us more on this matter?
Yes. So first, I would like to remind that we have many demonstrators. So a lot of things has been made, and especially in France, as you may see here, for the past 10 or 20 years. So we have a lot of products, demonstrators, capabilities. So I would say that from a technical point of view, so we have a lot of things. So at the moment, what we have to do, so as David said just before, if we have to test and to modify, to adjust, and to design new products and to adjust again and test again. And so we can do this in France. So all these machines are made in France, are made by French companies. But of course, so even if Vulcain, for example, in France, address this, in Europe, so there are several possibilities. So you mentioned EDA, European Defense Agency, but NATO, recently, decided to award a contract to the Italian army, in fact, to evaluate different types of robots. So this is the one we may see on the next slide. So this is the general idea of the project. So the idea is to use different robots, so UAVs and UGVs, small one and big one, and to evaluate the current state of the art of this machine, what they can do on the field. Are they robust enough? What are their capabilities, and especially in terms of autonomy? But also to try to combine so all these machines to get all their data, to use artificial intelligence in a C2, command and control system, just to try to get the best of all these machines when they operate all together. And so this is a 5 years contract, so 3 years and 2 more years as an option. And so really we hope this kind of projects could help, of course, soldiers, so end users, but also industry to design the best robots in the next generation.
Thank you very much. Now it comes the time for the questions in the room, and if anyone has a question, please share it with us. If not, we have also a couple of slides that we can share with you. So maybe we will do that. And just before Mr. Kiefer, Mr. Morillon again about the bridge between or the Death Valley. You know, what is your opinion on the ability of Gaia to take you through the Death Valley, and maybe with some examples?
Yes. So as I told just before, so most of the time, so academic jobs to finish the TRL4, and so industry consider that something could become interesting when TRL level is at least 6. So the Death Valley is between 4 and 6, of course. And most of the time, especially in France, a lot of projects stop at TRL4 so it's a pity. But thanks to Gaia, we can expect that because there is a goal, there is a requirements or end users requirements or formal needs, which could be an attractor, in fact, and so which could help to cross this gap and say, okay, to the industry, okay, so maybe there is some job to do, there's still some job to do, but the end user is interested, and so definitely we have to do it, and probably this could be very helpful, in fact, to cross this gap.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Kiefer, can you please share with us the way Gaia has disrupted the traditional pattern of research?
Yeah. One of the difficulty to go from TRL4 to TRL6 is first for industrial partners to identify the projects that may be of interest. And we have many ideas which are coming from the labs, and the story is going in at the end when the funding, which has supported the development of these ideas, comes to end. And thanks to Gaia, we are able to have a place where we can show these ideas, and I would like to show some examples of those ideas that were developed, for example, for civilian applications, and that were translated into ideas that now are evaluated for military purpose. And the first example is mobility modeling and management. This is an idea which is a problem which is very common when you want to optimize, for example, the deployment of telecommunication base station in order to ensure the coverage of a whole area. Here, the main idea is to translate this problem and this type of models to a battlefield in order to ensure the communication capability of agent deployed over this battlefield, and in order to ensure the connectivity and to allocate resources, communication resources, you have to model the displacement of vehicles, of men, over this battlefield, and the models are very different, or maybe different from the common models. For example, when you have people going to a stadium which are taking the road, usually here on a battlefield, this is much more unstructured, and this is the first research topic that we are trying to develop. Second, this is the energy optimization applied to military land vehicle. This is a research topic which is developed by IBISC, and you have Mohamed Chadli, which is one of the head of this research topic. And the main idea is to evaluate the potential of energy optimization of driving assistance tools that were currently developed for civilian application in order to adapt this to military topics. And okay, the main idea is clearly to reduce the emission of CO2. This is the first point, but I think this is much more important to save some fuel logistics. This is much more interesting from that perspective too, but it has also the side effect to save some CO2.
Thank you very much. Now, I think, do you want to share that also with us, or?
Yeah, maybe. These are two applications that are developed within Institut Polytechnique of Paris. And the first one, this is microarchitecture composites. These are new composites built using 3D printing in order to improve the resistance of materials to deformation and to improve their shock absorption capacity. And clearly, this is something which will be developed within Gaia. Many industrial partners are interested, and the research labs from both Institut Polytechnique of Paris and University Paris-Saclay are working on this kind of activity. And there are several labs also which are working on the algorithmic foundation for fleets of robots, and this will come in the second phase of Gaia. And clearly there is a strong development of all the theoretical tools currently that may be helpful to optimize the behavior and the control of fleets of robots. And currently, these three labs, U2ES, LTCE, and LIX, are clearly working together in order to develop all the necessary tools that are currently bottleneck for the development of more efficient control of fleets of robots.
Thank you very much. Lieutenant Schuster, the question for you. As in your role and your professional capacity, could you tell us how Gaia supports research in the fields of the MCO?
Yes, this is another main aspect, another main topic in Gaia regarding what we call MCO, maintenance for vehicles. And with additive manufacturing, we got a serious opportunities to support our vehicle, especially on the battlefields when we need to make operational maintenance, emergency maintenance. This is very important, and Gaia help us to identify new kind of solution, and we think also about all the contract things around this topic. For example, if we have the right to print define numbers of things and use them only in case of emergency regarding the qualification of the item. It's a very important thing for us, and we believe it's reachable, and the gain is very serious for us in operational condition. So additive manufacturing is very promising.
Thank you very much. Let me just get that. Yes. So I think actually it is great news because we actually managed to keep the conference in the right timing, which is not always easy. So I would like to thank once again our speakers, Mr. Kiefer, Mr. Morion, and Colonel Schuster. And please, if you have any questions about Gaia, you can find us on 06 GF502. So thank you and have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.